My girlfriend said, "I'm staying late at the office again, big project deadline." But her office building was on fire, and I was the one putting it out at 9 p.m. I texted back, "Hope your project goes well in the empty building." Then I checked her location history. She discovered that some lies burn bridges faster than fires burn buildings. But let me tell you how I got to that moment, because this isn't really about a fire. This is about what happens when someone you trust turns your relationship into an elaborate fiction. I'm Logan, I'm 30, and I'm a firefighter and EMT here in Phoenix. If you've never worked emergency response, let me tell you something: this job teaches you to pay attention to details. When people are lying about how the accident happened, when they're hiding something that could affect their medical treatment, when their story doesn't match the evidence at the scene, you learn to notice inconsistencies because lives depend on getting the truth. I should have applied those same skills to my personal life a lot sooner. Samantha seemed perfect when we met 13 months ago at a friend's birthday party. She was sweet, attentive, seemed genuinely impressed by my work. "You save people for a living," she said that first night. "That's incredible." She worked as an administrative assistant at a small marketing firm, nothing glamorous, but she seemed content with her job and interested in building something real together. The first few months were great. Samantha was supportive of my weird schedule: 24-hour shifts, emergency calls at all hours, the physical and emotional toll of the job. She'd have dinner waiting when I got home from difficult calls, never complained when I had to cancel plans for overtime shifts. But around month 10, something started to change. "I'm going to be working late tonight," became Samantha's most common text message. 3 nights a week, sometimes 4. Always the same reason: big project, important deadline, demanding client. At first, I was proud of her dedication. "That's great that your boss trusts you with important projects," I said when she mentioned staying until 9 p.m. for the third time that week. "Yeah, it's a lot of responsibility, but I want to prove myself." The thing about being a firefighter is that you learn to trust your gut. When something feels off at a scene, even if you can't pinpoint exactly what, you pay attention to that feeling. It keeps you alive. My gut was telling me something was off, but I kept ignoring it. The inconsistencies started small. Samantha would come home from these late work nights looking refreshed instead of tired. She'd smell like she'd just showered, not like someone who'd been at a desk for 12 hours. Her clothes were different than what she'd worn to work that morning. "Did you change at the office?" I asked one evening when she came home in workout clothes. "Oh, I keep spare clothes there. You know how stuffy that building gets." Reasonable explanation. I accepted it. Then there were the phone calls. Samantha's phone would buzz with texts all evening, even after she'd supposedly left work. When I glanced over, the messages were from names I didn't recognize. "Who's Jake?" I asked one night when her phone lit up with multiple messages. "Jake, oh, that's a coworker. He's working on the project too." Another reasonable explanation. I kept accepting them, but the firefighter in me was cataloging details that didn't add up. Samantha claimed to be working on massive projects that required constant overtime, but her paychecks didn't reflect overtime pay. She said her boss was demanding and difficult, but she never seemed stressed about work during the day. She described complex client presentations and important deadlines, but her actual job was data entry and filing. "Tell me about this project you're working on," I said one evening, genuinely curious about what was keeping her so busy. Samantha's face went blank for just a second. "Oh, it's really boring, just, spreadsheet stuff, database organization, nothing as exciting as your work." She always deflected specific questions with vague answers and immediate topic changes. My brother Tyler, who's a police officer, started noticing my stress levels during our weekly family dinners. "You seem distracted lately," he said one Sunday. "Everything okay with Samantha?" "Yeah, she's just been working crazy hours. I barely see her anymore." Tyler, who'd spent years interviewing people and detecting deception, raised an eyebrow. "What kind of work keeps an administrative assistant out until 9 p.m. 4 nights a week?" "Important projects," I said automatically, then realized how hollow that sounded. Logan, you know I'm not trying to cause problems, but have you actually verified any of these work stories? Verified them. Tyler, she's my girlfriend, not a suspect. I'm just saying, trust but verify is a good policy in relationships too. I didn't want to hear that. I wanted to believe Samantha was just dedicated to her career. But Tyler had planted a seed of doubt that grew stronger every time she sent another working late text. The breaking point came on a Thursday evening in March. I was on shift when the alarm sounded at 8:47 p.m. Structure fire, commercial building, potential people trapped inside. As our truck raced through downtown Phoenix, dispatch provided more details. Office building, 4th floor, possible electrical fire spreading rapidly. The address sounded familiar, but I was focused on the tactical response. We arrived to find heavy smoke pouring from the upper floors of a mid-rise office building. My crew immediately began search and rescue operations, while I helped establish water flow to contain the spread. It wasn't until I was checking the building directory for potential victims that I realized where I was. Hartwell Marketing Solutions, 4th floor. Samantha's office. I pulled out my phone and checked my messages. Sure enough, sent 3 hours earlier. Working late again tonight, big project deadline. Don't wait up. I looked up at the 4th floor, where smoke was billowing from broken windows and flames were visible through the office spaces. The building had been evacuated. Security confirmed that the last employees had left by 6 p.m. There was nobody working late in this building. There hadn't been for hours. Standing there in my gear, watching smoke pour from the windows of my girlfriend's supposedly busy office, I felt something fundamental shift inside my chest. Not anger, something colder than anger. Clarity. I texted her back. Hope your project goes well in the empty building. We spent 4 hours fighting that fire. Electrical system failure in the server room that spread through the ventilation system. Total loss of the 4th and 5th floors. Nobody was injured because the building was completely empty, at 9 p.m. on a Thursday, when Samantha was supposedly inside working on a crucial project. The next morning, Samantha came home around 10 a.m. looking like she'd had a full night's sleep and a leisurely morning. How did the project go? I asked. Oh, long night, but we got everything finished. I stared at her, this woman I'd been living with for over a year, and realized I had no idea who she actually was. Samantha, your office building burned down last night. Her face went through several expressions very quickly. Confusion, realization, panic, then a forced look of shock. What? Oh my God, is everyone okay? Everyone's fine because the building was empty, had been empty since 6 p.m. Silence. Logan, I can explain. Can you? Because I was the one fighting the fire in your empty office while you were texting me about working late. That's when the lies really started. Samantha claimed she'd been working from a satellite office. Then she said she'd left early because she wasn't feeling well but didn't want to worry me. Then she said there had been a last-minute location change for the project meeting. Each explanation contradicted the previous one. I sat there listening to someone I'd trusted completely reveal that she was either pathologically dishonest or thought I was incredibly stupid. Where were you actually last night? I asked finally. I told you the project. There is no project, Samantha. I've been a firefighter for 8 years. I know what a lie looks like, and I know what the truth looks like. Right now, you're lying. She broke down crying then, but they felt like performance tears. Tears designed to make me stop asking questions rather than expressions of genuine remorse. I need to know where you've been going all these nights you claim to be working late. You don't trust me. You've been lying to me for months. Trust isn't the issue anymore, honesty is. That's when I made a decision that changed everything. I was going to find out the truth, not because I wanted to catch her in more lies, but because I needed to know how deep this deception went. Tyler offered to help. I can run her plates, see where her car's been showing up, purely unofficial just to give you peace of mind. Do it. 2 days later, Tyler called with results that somehow managed to be both surprising and completely predictable. Logan, her car has been at a fitness center called Peak Performance Gym almost every night for the past 3 months. Same time pattern as her supposed late work nights. The gym. She'd been going to the gym while telling me she was working late. There's more, Tyler continued. I talked to Ashley, her roommate. Ashley thought you knew. She's been wondering why you were okay with Samantha spending so much time with her trainer. Her trainer. Jake, the coworker who'd been texting her all those evenings. That afternoon, I went to Peak Performance Gym. Not to confront anyone, just to understand what I was dealing with. I watched from the parking lot as Samantha walked in wearing workout clothes I'd never seen before, carrying a gym bag I didn't know she owned. 20 minutes later, she emerged with a tall, athletic guy who was clearly a personal trainer. They were laughing, touching each other's arms, looking like two people who knew each other very well. I sat in my truck watching my girlfriend of 13 months interact with another man the way she used to interact with me in the beginning. Engaged, animated, genuinely happy. But what hit me wasn't jealousy. It was relief. Finally, I had the truth. That evening, Samantha came home around 10 p.m. looking refreshed and energetic. "How was work?" I asked. "Oh, same old stuff, really tiring project." I pulled out my phone and showed her a photo I'd taken of her leaving the gym with Jake. "Want to try that again?" Samantha stared at the photo for a long time. Then she started crying real tears this time. "Logan, I can explain everything." "I'm sure you can. You've been explaining things for months. The question is whether any of it will be true." That's when the whole story came out. Sort of. Samantha had been feeling insecure about her boring job compared to my career. She'd started working out to feel better about herself, then gotten involved with a personal trainer who made her feel attractive and interesting. She'd been lying about working late because she was embarrassed about needing fitness help and didn't know how to tell me she'd been struggling with self-confidence. "I never meant for it to go this far," she said. "It started as just wanting to get in shape, then Jake and I became friends and I didn't know how to explain why I'd been lying about where I was." "Are you sleeping with him?" "No, God, no, we're just friends. He's helping me with fitness goals." I wanted to believe that, but I'd learned not to trust anything Samantha said without verification. "Does Jake know you have a boyfriend?" Silence. "Samantha, does your trainer know you're in a relationship?" It never came up. So for 3 months she'd been spending 4 nights a week with another man who thought she was single, while lying to me about where she was and what she was doing. "You need to move out," I said quietly. "Logan, please, I know I screwed up, but we can work through this. I'll stop going to the gym. I'll be completely honest from now on." "Samantha, you've been lying to me for months. Not small lies, elaborate daily deceptions that required you to create false stories, hide evidence, and manipulate me into believing a completely fictional version of your life. I was scared you'd think less of me for needing help with fitness. I would have supported your fitness goals. I would have celebrated your progress. I would have been proud of you for taking care of yourself. Instead, you made me into someone you had to deceive." The conversation went on for hours, but the outcome was clear. I couldn't trust anything Samantha said anymore. Every story, every explanation, every promise would have to be verified independently. That's not a relationship, that's a surveillance operation. She moved out the following weekend. Ashley later confirmed that Samantha had been telling her gym friends that she was single, that she'd been complaining about her boring life with a boyfriend who worked too much, and that Jake definitely thought he was pursuing someone available. My Captain Mike noticed the improvement in my work performance almost immediately. "Whatever was stressing you out, I'm glad you dealt with it," he said during our shift evaluation. "You seem focused again." I hadn't realized how much Samantha's constant deception had been affecting my ability to concentrate on my job. When you're constantly wondering if the person you love is lying to you, it's hard to focus on anything else. 3 months later, I met Nicole during an emergency call. She was an ER nurse who'd been called to assist with a cardiac arrest we were responding to. We worked together seamlessly, communicating clearly and efficiently to save someone's life. "Good work tonight," she said as we were packing up equipment. "You too, that was excellent chest compressions." We ended up talking for an hour about the challenges of emergency medicine, the satisfaction of helping people in crisis, the importance of trust between first responders. "Want to get coffee sometime?" I asked as she was leaving. "I'd like that. Fair warning, though, I'm pretty straightforward. I say what I mean and I mean what I say. Some people find that boring." "Straightforward sounds perfect," I said, and meant it completely. Dating Nicole was like discovering what honest communication actually looked like. When she said she was working late, she was actually at the hospital. When she made plans, she kept them. When she had concerns or feelings, she expressed them directly instead of creating elaborate stories to avoid difficult conversations. "I could never lie to someone I cared about," she said one evening when I told her about Samantha. "It seems exhausting to maintain false stories, and cruel to manipulate someone's trust like that." 6 months after Samantha moved out, she tried to contact me. She'd apparently broken up with Jake after he discovered she'd had a boyfriend the entire time they'd been training together. "I've learned so much about myself," she said when she called. "I understand now why I felt the need to lie. I've been working with a therapist, and I think we could try again." "I'm glad you're getting help," I said honestly. "But I'm with someone now who's never felt the need to lie to me about anything. Logan, what we had was special. You can't just throw that away. What we had was based on deception. What I have now is based on honesty. The difference is life-changing." She seemed genuinely surprised that I'd moved on completely. I think she'd assumed I'd be waiting for her to figure herself out, ready to forgive and forget once she'd learned her lesson. But some lessons change you permanently. Samantha taught me that I need to be with someone whose default mode is honesty, not someone who defaults to deception and has to work hard to tell the truth. Nicole and I moved in together last month. She meets my family regularly, includes me in her social life, talks about her work and her friends and her feelings without filtering or fabricating. She's not more interesting than Samantha was, she's more real. Looking back, I realized Samantha's lies weren't just about the gym or Jake or her insecurities. They were about her fundamental approach to relationships. When faced with any situation that required vulnerability, honesty, or difficult conversation, her instinct was to create fiction rather than deal with reality. That's not a character flaw you can fix with therapy or promises to do better. It's a basic incompatibility with the kind of partnership I need. Some people will always choose convenient lies over inconvenient truths. They'll create elaborate deceptions rather than have authentic conversations. They'll manipulate your trust rather than earn your respect. Learning to recognize those people early and having enough self-respect to walk away when they reveal themselves might be the most important skill anyone can develop. Real love requires real honesty. Not perfect honesty. Everyone makes mistakes and has moments of poor judgment. But baseline, default, daily honesty. The kind of honesty that makes someone text you the truth about where they are, even when the truth is less impressive than fiction. I used to think trust was about giving someone the benefit of the doubt. Now I know it's about being with someone who doesn't require doubt in the first place. Some lies burn bridges faster than fires burn buildings. But sometimes, that's exactly what needs to happen.